I wanted to explain what happened with the civilian award, and I appreciate a lot of people on Facebook for showing me love on that. You know, I initially didn't even want to go to the award ceremony just for the fact that I felt like it'd be wrong to take credit for saving somebody's life, doing something that as a human being you should do. You know, you shouldn't want to see somebody take their own life if you can intervene. But I had my nieces and my nephews, and I thought about them. I was like, you know, I want them to see that good deeds do get rewarded. And I can't lie, I kind of found out, like, you know, afterwards, after everything happened, and you know, I went to the award ceremony, and you know, like I said, I got a lot of love on Facebook. I actually felt good. I mean, maybe I needed that. Maybe that was a good pick-me-up that I was going to avoid, because it's hard being a good person. It's not easy. Well, I'm explaining it because they gave a fake description of what happened. They didn't really tell you the whole truth. What really happened was, the girl, I came outside of my job at the Lansing Center, and I was walking down the street, and I looked up at the time, it was like 3:05, my bus was coming in 5 minutes, and I saw this girl. I thought she was jumping over the part of the ledge thing to get to the underground part where you can walk under the bridge, because you know that little wooden part, everybody knows under the bridge is downtown. You know, you can walk and get to another place easier. But she stepped on the ledge, and I looked at her like, hold on, what the fuck are you doing? My words exactly. It's like, hold on, what are you doing? What the fuck is you doing? And she was like, I'm about to jump. And so what I did is I started talking to her about her situation. Her situation was that she lost 4 of her kids to CPS, and she had a stillborn, and she didn't feel like life was worth living at this point. And you know, I talked to her about this stuff, you know, for probably about, I want to say 10-15 minutes, and I was telling her that you know, when I was young, you know, I didn't have my father, you know, and when I got old enough, 18, I wanted to see him. I wanted to see where I got my stuff from. I wanted to get to know him, you know what I'm saying? But because he had passed away, I never got that chance. And I was trying to explain to her that even though you might lose your kids for right now, who's to say you can't get them back? I've been with 2 females before who got back their kids after losing them to CPS. It took hard work, yeah, but she got them back. And I was trying to tell her, you can get them back too. But I'm like, even if you can't get them back, after those kids turn 18 or something like that, they might come looking for you, just wanting some answers. Are you going to be there for them? You're not going to be there for them if you're dead. You know? And I didn't know whether or not, I was hoping that would be, you know, something sensible enough to take her down, but it wasn't. But the good thing is, these older ladies came over and started talking to her, and they distracted her for enough time for me to run inside to the building right there real quick to see if I could make sure somebody was calling 911 about the situation, because a lot of people were walking by like they didn't even care. And so once I did that, I came back outside, and that's when I ran into Todd Butler, the guy who got the award with me. And you know, after a minute, like, you know, I realized the police was going to be there probably in the next couple of minutes. And when the police car, you can see it pulling up over there by the Radisson, coming over to where we were at, the wind blew real hard because it was a windy day, and you can see her way before that she went to take a step. And that's when dude was like, grab her. It was like, grab her. We got to grab her. And we snatched her down and we pulled her down. That's what actually happened in that situation. And I'm happy that he was there, because you know what? Without him, I'm not sure. That girl wasn't exactly a small girl. I don't know if I could have pulled her down safely by myself, but with me and him both there, I knew that it could be guaranteed she could be pulled down safely, and I was happy about that. But it's not something that I want to gloat about, but I just want to make sure that people do understand, you know, what happened, so they can see the actual fullness of the situation. You know, the girl was going through some stuff, and I still plan on following up on her. And I actually asked the officer at the award ceremony about how I can do that, and he said I can go down there, get a case, find out the case, and then get a contact number for her. And I plan on doing that soon, because in the end, I don't care about no award. The girl was going through a lot of crap, and I know a lot of people who go through crap like that, and I hate to see people have to deal with that by themselves, or be around people who don't exactly help them on that situation, you know. But a couple of girls that I was messing with, that I was telling you, that actually got their kids back, their family was not supportive for them. They weren't supportive in the least. I will say that I am, after reflecting on it, I guess I should take some time out to say that, you know, I can be proud of myself for doing something good. You never know. And the thing about it is, like, there was a point where I wasn't sure if she was serious or if she was just looking for attention. But I did know one thing. I knew if I went home and I read about this girl dying, I would have never forgiven myself, knowing there was something I could have did about it. And that's why I shared this story with you, because I want you guys to understand, like, a lot of times when bad things happen, we don't think it's gonna happen. But then when it happens, we're like, well, dang, what could I have done to avoid it? I mean, I've been through so many situations like that already. And you don't want that on your conscience, man, when you could have done better. So it's best just to take the latter and do what's right, even if it doesn't look like it's necessary. Not a lot of people will. And like I said, there had been at least 200-300 people that walked by that day that completely ignored the situation. You know, there was some kids down the street videotaping it, trying to put it on YouTube. You know, there's not a lot of good people in this world, but I will say this much. It did make me have a little bit more faith in humanity, seeing the 3 older ladies who did stop, and having that guy, Todd, come out there and help me, because he could have just ignored it too, and so could have those ladies. I mean, every one of those moves were very critical in saving that girl's life, and I just pray to God that she let go of those suicidal tendencies. And the other thing I found out about it is that it was more serious than I thought, because when I talked to the officer about, you know, well, I pretty much talked to the officer about, you know, I didn't know she was jumping out, but I couldn't take the risk, and he told me, no, you did a good thing, because it's like, dude, last year I found 5 bodies in the river. I was like, oh. Because I guess he was part of a scuba team, a scuba police team, and he said he found 5 bodies in the river. I'm like, well, shit, maybe I did do a damn good thing. But it all came out to be positive, because you know what, regardless of what action was taken or wouldn't have been taken, the end result is her being alive, and that's the only thing that matters. It doesn't make any sense. How can a grown adult human being complain about something, deal with something on a regular basis? There's something they could do about it, but they just choose not to. Usually 9 times out of 10, that's when there's more to the story than what the person is letting you know. I mean, and people don't like to admit this, and this is a very hard thing for me to say, but it's very true, and it pisses me off because I know it's true. I wish it wasn't true, but it is true. But a lot of females who are in situations where they're getting abused, I used to be a run-up, try to save him, get on the nigga's ass, beat his ass if I found out a female's getting hit. You know, I was big on that, especially back when I was young. I was always like, you know, because of my history, you know, what I seen as a kid, you know, I was big on the whole protect females from these predator evil guys. But as I got older, I've been coming to realize a lot of them aren't victims of a situation. A lot of them place themselves in that situation on purpose. A lot of them want that whole, well, you know, he beat me up, but I love him type thing. And as sick as that sounds, it's true. You get, and more so than you would believe. I'd say probably at least a good 20% of abusive relationships are actually accepted by the female, which is messed up, and I hate to say it. And I know a lot of people, I can probably hear females right now, but it's still wrong, it's still wrong, and I know it's still wrong to abuse your woman. I know that. I don't believe in hitting your woman. I don't even believe in calling them a bitch or calling them a hoe. I don't believe in calling them outside their name. I don't. But when I come to find it, some females egg for that shit. And then some females, it's like, I don't think every single guy who's abusive woke up and said, hey, I want to be abusive. Some men get with females, and this is their fault, not anybody else's. This is the man's fault for getting with a female and trying to stay loyal to somebody who makes them that angry that they become abusive. And then what happens over time? They start taking it as a consistency, as part of a relationship. They develop it as something you just need to do every once in a while. They get used to it. And then they become these abusive guys who just pretty much are going to be abusive for most of the rest of their life unless they get serious help. And the sad thing about it is we have all these programs on sex in school and about bullying and stuff like that, but I don't think we really dig into domestic violence as deep as we need to in the schools and in our communities. And not even just the black communities, or I'm not going to say black, but not just the city communities, but also in the suburban communities. I don't think enough attention is being brought to this abuse situation for what it really is. I mean, it's easy to say a man shouldn't hit a woman, but you should also let them know how that develops, how a person develops into becoming abusive, what signs to look for, and hey, look, if you feel like you're going to be abusive, you need to leave that woman. That is a must. And also at the same time, you also have to teach these young girls, man, you don't want to go for the guy who has this temper flare. Just because he's hard and he fights people, if he's constantly fighting people because he's pissed, what do you think he's going to do when he gets pissed at you? It just adds up to be that way. And a lot of females, like I said, more females than admittingly so, know that. And they still pursue that man because they want to be with that type of dude. And it's sick and it's sad. Just as much as you have females who scream false rape, which is the most sickening thing, because I don't understand how these females can't think about the females who actually are raped while they're doing these false allegations. It's like that's the complete, one of the biggest selfishnesses of the world, is to scream false rape because you have an agenda, because either you want to get back with somebody else and make somebody jealous, or get some money from people. And this might sound crazy, you don't understand how false rape adds up to these things. I've seen it. False rape does add up to people trying to get other people back. You know, they'll scream rape just to get them feeling bad for them. Or they'll scream rape just to try to get, you know, some money from a person, because they'll be like, hey, look, if you don't give me some money, I'm going to tell people you raped me. The females will do that. There are some females who will. Now, don't get me wrong, there are very much females who are victims who actually just got put in a bad situation, and or they don't really have the intellect level to know the resources to get out of those situations. And I think this should be discussed more than just saying, hey, men shouldn't hit women. I think we should go in depth about it. But we don't. And it's sad.